When it comes to a typical day of homemaking, the tasks to be done usually don't all fall in just one place. There are things to be done all over the home. Today we'll chat as I take you along through a lot of my day as I tackle some homemaking distractions. I'm so glad you are joining me today. Today is just one of those days that I have a lot of random things that need to be done. Before I jump into some of my thoughts, let me tell you what I've got going on here. This morning, we have already finished up with school, and now I'm getting some pizza dough going for our dinner tonight. I also make some focaccia bread, but I don't show the part of me mixing that dough, but you do get to see the end result, which is my favorite part anyways. So I noticed as I made this video that none of the tasks really felt like they had a cohesiveness to them. I realized that several times I start on one thing but move to something else before that task is done. And while many times I do have a rhyme and reason for the order I might accomplish things, I am also very guilty of finding myself having a thought of something else that needs to be done, and for fear that I will forget what it is, I'll go do that thing before I finish whatever it is that I am doing, and then that happens again and again, and before you know it, I have started 5 other tasks before completing the one that I initially started with. So aware of this fault of mine, I felt like it was the perfect time to talk about homemaking distractions. While the pizza dough is mixing, I am going to try to get our kitchen table cleaned off from school this morning. I do really love that we have 2 tables. We have this kitchen table and a dining room table, and that makes it so easy to leave out our school things if we need to come back to them after lunch. I hated whenever we used to use this table for eating and for school because it was always sticky with either food or glue, and I never was sure which. I am cleaning off the tray that attaches to my little girl's bumbo seat. I have that designated for the kitchen table for while we're doing homeschool. She normally eats breakfast there, and then we have another high chair that we keep at the dining room table. This is our pizza dough that we're going to let ferment for the day, and then we will have it ready for dinner tonight. For our kitchen table, I made a floral tablecloth so that it would be easier to clean and protect the table. It's made from the slick tablecloth material. I just added some elastic to the edges so that it would gather underneath and stay snug around the table without moving. It's lasted me a long time, and so I'm thinking about making a few more to switch out for different seasons. The thing is that distractions are inevitable in homemaking. You almost always cannot finish one task without getting interrupted. Or you can start one task, and while you wait for something about that task to finish, whether it's the laundry, the dishes, dinner, whatever, you can start something else. But I easily get distracted in homemaking, just simply from other homemaking tasks. But that is not the only way that we get distracted. I am so excited about this globe that I got at TJ Maxx. I had a really huge globe that I kept in my classroom whenever I taught kindergarten, but it was ginormous and it didn't look nice. It was really heavy, so I have been looking for a while to find the perfect one. I finally found one that was cheap enough that I also liked. My oldest was really excited about it too. He has asked several times to go to Hobby Lobby to see if the globes are on sale, which cracks me up, but also lets me know that I'm raising a frugal little boy. While some homemaking distractions are beneficial in a way, such as getting several tasks done at once, distractions are usually not a good thing. It keeps us from putting our attention on what our focus is supposed to be on. So this task right here, I feel like needs some explanation. I'm making something for a friend of mine at church who is about to have her first baby soon. I decided to make her some padsicles, and if you have not heard of these, they are one of the best things after giving birth. It's basically a pad covered in aloe, witch hazel, and lavender essential oil. You put them in the freezer, take them out just a little bit before you need to use them, and they provide healing and relief. I made these the past 2 times I gave birth, and I was so glad to have them. So this is a great and easy way to help out a friend or a new mom. It is just super simple, but really impactful also. This is our baby's room, which isn't horrible, but it has some piles collecting on the floor, and I really want to get it picked up before it turns into an overwhelming amount of stuff. Even without a lot of surfaces in here to lay things on, I noticed that I still find myself piling things up in certain areas of her room. One of the hardest parts about keeping a baby room organized is that they grow so quickly, so things have to be rotated out very often. Babies truly don't need many clothes because they outgrow them so fast. I bought a lot less for her than I did with our first, but since I had 2 boys and then a girl, it was so much fun to get to buy girly outfits. And so even though I bought less for her, I still bought too many things. Keeping things minimal has been hard, but keeping things minimal really can help eliminate distractions. There are so many distractions in our world today. Our possessions can cause distractions, work, extra commitments, and of course, technology is a huge culprit. Our attention is divided by so many things going on around us. We have to be really intentional about our priorities and to stay focused on them. Many days I would find myself drowning trying to get everything done, feeling like I never could keep up. And after I realized 3 very important things, it has helped me tremendously. First, I cannot ever get everything done in one day. The to-do list is never ending, and if I allow myself to feel defeated by not getting everything done, it will make homemaking even harder. When we feel defeated, our motivation and drive to work hard decreases. The second thing is I must set boundaries. I must commit to limiting my technology usage. However is the most helpful to do it is the way you need to do it. I notice that for me in the mornings, if I don't put on my Apple Watch and I leave my phone out of my pocket, I can get so much more done. I also have to set boundaries on how much elaborate cooking that I do. I really love to cook and experiment with new things, but if I allow myself to start a huge baking project every day, I easily will get overwhelmed and distracted by it and neglect other homemaking tasks that need to get done, which leads me to the third. The third is that I must keep my priorities in check. What are the most important tasks that need to be done? When you classify the tasks in order of importance, it can help you to stay focused and feel more accomplished. So, for example, there might be a task that does need to get done, like cleaning out a kitchen cabinet. And while it does have some importance, if you focus on that instead of making sure there are clean clothes for your family tomorrow, or neglecting to start dinner because you spread all of the cabinet contents all over the floor or the counter, these are the type of distractions that can be eliminated whenever you keep your priorities in the front of your mind. So making it a point to wait until you know that you have the time to pull all those things out of the cabinet, that it's not going to get in the way of a more important task that needs to get done. I truly am just jumping from one task to the next today, attempting to get as much done as I possibly can. Some things that I need to get done have an order in which I'd like to do them, but I have finally realized that I cannot always be so particular. I normally clean off all the counters in the bathrooms and in the kitchen and then mop all of the floors. But if I wanted to get the house mopped, I knew that I didn't have time to clean everything as perfectly as I would want to. I usually like to mop the entire house in one day. My vacuum mop is awesome, but with just like any mop, whenever you're done, you need to clean it. Clean it out, rinse it out, whatever it is. While the vacuum mop is really easy to clean, it's still that one extra step that will sometimes keep me from getting the mopping done if I try to split it up, the mopping, and get it done on different days instead of all in one day. It honestly really is a fast and easy chore, and I actually enjoy mopping. The hardest part is making sure there isn't anything on the floor to get in the way while I'm vacuum mopping, like toys or children. I am not particular about the floor getting walked on while I'm mopping, which does make it easier to get done with kids around. Thankfully, with this mop, the floor dries really quickly, so it's not slippery for very long. Homemaking distractions and just distractions in general have been on my heart for a while now, and I specifically remember a time last year when we were camping, sitting around the fire and truly enjoying God's creation, spending time with family, and I was just thinking about this great example we are given in the Bible about someone who was getting distracted by what seemed like good things or good efforts. Martha, the sister of Mary, was busy doing housework and making preparations for Jesus. While that work wasn't bad and needed to be done, it was a distraction from what she should have actually been focusing on at that time, which was just spending time with Jesus. The housework could wait. This is just so applicable to us in many ways. How often do we find ourselves getting distracted by productive tasks only to neglect the more important things in life, like spending time with God in His Word, spending time with family and fellow Christians? We must choose carefully what is truly important and worthy of our time. When I'm done cleaning out the mop, I always put a drain catcher in the sink to easily catch all the debris and rinse it out. I love that this mop has an easy self-cleaning function to clean out the roller and the tubing that the dirty water gets into. Whenever you clean it out, you can really see how well it picks up the dirt on the floors. I love to use cast iron skillets for a lot of things, and one of my favorite ways is to sear and cook meat. It just gives it a much better flavor than a regular skillet, but it can make it difficult to clean if you don't rinse it right away after you finish cooking. So I did let it soak for a while, which is a big no-no that most people would say who are avid cast iron users. But sometimes in the kitchen, you know what, you just have to break the rules and do what works for you, and that's definitely the case with sourdough, which is why it is so fun to me. I just love to find new ways to make something delicious. Today, I was also working on taking a few photos for my blog. I recently made this weekly prayer journal to make it easier to keep up with prayer requests and to help stay focused during prayer time. Having a prayer journal will definitely help eliminate distractions and remind you of things that you want to mention in your prayers. If you want to check it out, I'll post the link in the description below. It's a free printable, so you might as well give it a try. Taking photos in my home is kind of a pain because I don't have a lot of natural light coming into my kitchen where I take most of my photos. So a lot of times I will open up the front door and take photos in front of it on my fake countertop that I made with contact paper and a thin piece of wood. That's what I'm using today when I took photos of the prayer journal. But I took the photos on the kitchen table instead. The light is okay in there, but it's not the best. But it is better than most places in my home. I wish that there was an easy way to get more natural light in my home, but that's not really one of those things that is an easy fix. while the baby is sleeping, I'm trying to speed through some tasks. I started working on folding some laundry in our bedroom, but while I was working on that, I remember that I have been wanting to get the tablecloth measured out and cut so that I can start sewing it soon. So I leave some of the laundry to come back to later and start working on the tablecloth. I know that this is something that I need to work on while she is sleeping because it would be really difficult to do while trying to entertain her. After I get some of my measurements, I realize that it's time to go ahead and get started on the pizza. For tonight, I used my KitchenAid mixer to shred the cheese. It's hard for me to choose what I love most about my KitchenAid mixer because I really love it just in general, but I really do like this feature. It just makes everything so much more convenient. My boys were thrilled to be having pizza tonight. They have been requesting it for several days. It was fun for them to help, and it was a good exercise for me to work on my patience and let go of my need for perfection. After dinner, I was able to work on the tablecloth a bit more because I didn't get finished before dinner. I didn't get finished after dinner either, but I did get more done. I was able to get the strips for the ruffles cut, which is just one step closer to getting it done. It's definitely going to be a long project. Before having kids, I could have easily dedicated a day to get this done, and it would have been easy to do in a day, even with one kid maybe. But now I don't even really give a second thought about having to have a multiple day drawn out project. So I really have enjoyed making pizza at home. I used to work at Domino's and at Little Caesars whenever I was in high school and college. And so pizza making is something I have done a lot. But even though I have so much experience making pizza, there is just no way to get that perfect oven-baked pizza that you would get from a pizza place at home unless you have your own pizza oven. I have tried so many different recipes. I've tried traditional sourdough, I've tried potato flake sourdough, I've tried yeast. It really doesn't matter. I don't think that even with the knowledge that I have about making pizza, that I could make a pizza that is equally as yummy as if you bought it from a pizza joint. So it is what it is. We still enjoy the pizza, but we do treat ourselves occasionally to ordering out and getting pizza from one of our favorite pizza places. You can see I got the strips cut out. I decided to go a little bit longer on the fabric just to make sure that I had enough whenever I attached the bottom pieces to the top so that I had hem allowance. I was able to use the square as my measuring tool. The next morning, my focaccia dough is ready to go in the oven. When it was done, it was so yummy to dip into an olive oil dip. I love snacking on dips of pretty much any kind. So feel free to share your favorite dip recipes in the comments below because I always love trying out a new one. This focaccia bread is a recipe that I'm playing around with. It was delicious, but I want to get it just perfect before I share the recipe. If you want to find any of my other potato flake sourdough recipes, you can head on over to the blog and I can link that below for you. My favorite sandwich from Panera is made on focaccia bread, so I really am excited to perfect this recipe so that I can replicate their chipotle chicken avocado melt. I have made a copycat of this sandwich before on a different bread, but as a wrap version, and while it's still so delicious, it's just not the same without the delicious focaccia bread. So whenever I get it just right, I'll be sure to share the recipe and my copycat sandwich. After I had already baked this bread, I realized that I forgot to top it with the kosher sea salt. which was kind of a bummer because I could tell that this was one of the things that it was missing. But I was making this first thing in the morning while also trying to instruct my oldest for his lessons, so I was definitely distracted, which is the perfect note to end on today. Distractions cause us to never give our 100% to anything. I'm guilty of trying to do too many things at once, never giving my best effort to any one area. While it's impossible to solely focus on one task at a time as a homemaker, I want to put extra effort into trying to limit when my attention is divided by eliminating some distractions and some of the things that are not a priority, at least for that moment. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that even though my homemaking today is a bit all over the place, that you will go away with some motivating ideas to help keep your focus in your homemaking and in all the areas that are most important to you. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will make more videos like this. See you again soon.